This is not only going to be our opportunity to look at these two teams go head-to-head, but you're going to have other teams looking at this match as a benchmark. Well, what can we do against Envy, or what can we do against T1? And that's scary to think about. You know, a team like 100 Thieves, I'm not sure what their lineup is for today, what games they have to be going up against, but you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I have an opportunity to look at my potential grand final opposition. You best believe I'm watching this.
Also, real quick shout out to the latest patch that now gives us colored cones on the minimap, so we know which team is looking where. That's pretty dope. Also,
oh, that's so good. Oh my god. Well, okay, but you know what else is good is the defense, of course. Oh wow, Calypso. Those domes, man. Those domes, they really putting in work. Crashies, of course, has got a couple of his own, but now it's just up to him to get that spike down.
Yeah, and that's a tough spot. I mean, it's a 1v2. It certainly could be worse. You see him start to creep his way onto the site right now, not realizing that both Kaboose and mummAy are there. He has spotted them. He's going to get cleaned up. Not much of a... Didn't put up a whole lot of a fight there. mummAy getting the best of crashies. That's going to be the first round in favor of Envy. And that's exactly how they needed to start off this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we talk about a map like Bind. It's, of course, relatively even. So for the side of T1, nothing really to fret. I see a lot of T1 emotes in the chat, and really what that tells me is there's a lot of support for the boys in blue. So for T1, if you're looking to bleed red, make sure to make it bleed. Envy, they are prepared, but can they really take that third round where the gun round starts to come through? Of course, for T1, just the ghosts, just keeping things a little bit more simple.
You know, I'm interested to see how T1 plays this. The first round, we saw them make an aggressive push onto A through A short. This time, it's a little bit more tactical, if you will, as they creep their way up to B. And this is a pretty standard defensive front coming out of Envy, right? You send 2, maybe 3 over to B, 2 over on A side. You've also got the cameras to help out. Keep note on that. Cypher's cams on A, even though he's on B, just really showing how versatile of a kid he can have.
Seeing, of course, the weaponry online for Team Envy. How long will they be able to hold on to it? This is one of those rounds where the attack can really make a dent and really start to make things a little bit more expensive for the defense. And you often see even just 2 or 3 kills from the attack. That's a great knock to the economy, right? Because the defense then have to think about, am I going to rebuy, or am I just going to suck it up and grab the ghost and go into the gun round with just a pistol? That's something that you definitely don't want to do. So as we are now seeing the attack, they're ready to start to funnel in through together. I'm liking the positioning from Kaboose. He's ready down below, but little does he know no one is there. A great bounce off the wall from Brax just to gather information and see if anyone's close to that corner, but they would have been smoked alive, burnt at the crisp by now.
I mean, look at that. Look at how slow and methodical they're playing with this. We've hit 45 seconds on the clock, and they're just now starting to make their way in. Crashies is going to take care of Kaboose. You see the onslaught getting its way onto the site. Brax takes care of Finesse as well, and that's another clean shot out of mummAy to try to tie things up, and AZK gets the last one. Akis and Calypso are cleaning it up, but the boys of T1 are going to tie it up with AZK and Skadoodle putting the finishing touches on the round.
So, like I said, you make it expensive and things really start to hurt. And now the defense, they're bleeding, they're sad. And we are seeing that they are back down to the pistols. On the opposite side, it's Skadoodle, the only one that's left out, doesn't have the fresh new Jordans on the first day of school. He's going to have a Spectre while the rest of his team have got Phantoms locked and loaded. And that's a great round for the attack now moving forward. They can feel confident where they want to push in. And the pings, they tell me it's going to be another big B-site hit.
Yeah, we'll see if they're as slow as they were last time. No, it seems that they've taken a deep pull from their go-go juice and they want to play this a bit more aggressively, but take a look at the way they're set up defensively, they being Envy, excuse me. They're spread out over here. They know what's coming.
Oh, here comes the push. Couple of sprays are going to be good for mummAy with the frenzy, but unfortunately will not be able to avenge his fallen comrades, and now just down to, of course, it is Calypso and I believe Akis. Yep, Akis, the Sage player. I mean, at this point, there's really no point to save a pistol. So we'll see how they manage to make it expensive. Calypso's got a great positioning flank around the corner, but of course there's going to be a wall that greets him once he starts to make his way fully around. I think he's playing it a little bit more cautious, thinking, okay, that wall's not there, but he doesn't know that the wall is there. And then once he sees it, he can now push a little bit more. Akis with the shorty somehow catches Crashies rotating through hookah And now 3 remain, still trying to hold on to the spike. Now Calypso's going to find himself a ZK. And Akis now upgraded to the Phantom will save that weapon to the next round.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned early on whether or not it was worth saving a pistol. I think that is the key difference maker at the end of that round there. Really good setup, though, by T1. The ability to get onto the site and plant early on without a ton of blood being shed bodes well. I think it's early. We've only seen 3 rounds here, but I love how these two teams are matching up in this first half.
And the best part about this, for those of you that may be just joining, is that this is only map number 1. We are, of course, going to go to 2 more maps after this, and that is exciting to think about because we get some early look at some phenomenal competition. Whether you're a T1 fan or an Envy fan, you know that these two teams can at least respect each other in the level of competition that they can provide. So far, looking at the scoreboard, we are seeing AZK really start to kick things off with a 4-1 lead in terms of KDA, and that's great for him. But now, as we move forward, it does look like the defense are a little bit more prepared with the weaponry that they've got in hand.
And once again, it looks like it's going to be a push onto A. We haven't seen this since the first round, and well, it proved to be less than desirable, the results were. But I like that one way that's being dropped there. Now they're going to go. The run it back is going to be used, as is the fireball early on. Nothing doing quite yet, though. The wall just trying to buy time. Look at how aggressively he's playing this.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be a counter flank there from Akis. Food will quickly trade him out, but still it's the attack that are interested with this idea, still committed. And the changes to the stim beacon now give the information that there is no stim beacon to the defense. And here is the swing from Calypso. mummAy will provide that firepower from a distance up in heaven, but still it's the 3v3 that remain. The wall going to be going up here from Brax, trying to give a little bit more cover to the attackers that are trying to get that spike down. So far, just a back and forth with the Sovas using their recon bolts to capture each other's information. Unfortunately, Kaboose looks in the wrong direction. He'll be taken out by crashies, and now it's an uneven battle for Envy.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough to see that angle, but that looked like something that mummAy should have been able to cover. But the spike has gone down. FINESSEE is going to be able to pick up brax. mummAy's going to get a chance at crashies. Knows he's there, and he is able to tag him up. The shock dart might do it. Oh, the shock dart didn't do it, but the bullets did. FINESSEE and mummAy, both of them were able to land a kill. That's Envy's round yet again. T1 not proving to be very successful on this A site at all.
I like that communication there to grab themselves some weapons that are stuck here in A short. And, of course, team up there defusing that spike. Great communication so far to kick us off, and it's a tie game, 2-2. Looking at the attack, the economy, it's not in shambles yet, but it's starting to really look that way. crashies, unfortunately, finds himself in a difficult scenario, but he'll be able to buy himself a Phantom nonetheless. I think he got a little bit of support from some of the other members that are stacked in the economy department, but still, moving on to that next round, if they don't win this one, their economy will be in a very difficult spot, likely down to the pistol, and Envy will start to run away with a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, it looks like they don't want to go A again. They've tried twice, and, well, it's failed both instances. So now they want to cheat up over to B. But look, Simo, this is what we saw in round 2. It's a lean towards B, but it's a very methodical lean towards B. We also haven't seen any okie-dokying, like I like to call it, through the teleporters. It's been, well, once we commit, we commit.
Yeah. So far, man, I'm really liking these new cones. Oh man, it gives such great information to the casters. Shout out to Riot for being able to give that. So let's give us that, and we'll see if the scoreboard bug has been fixed, because this wasn't in the patch notes. These cones, they were not in the patch notes, I don't think. And so maybe that scoreboard's been fixed. Who knows what else it has been on the docket here for Riot. But so far, it's the defense. In terms of their agenda, they've got a preparation towards the defense on the B side. mummAy will find an early pick as he swings in towards B long. And now the rest of the attack still looking to group up here, ready for a push. They've got weapons. Remember, they need to win this one if they want to keep their economy flowing. And the defense, of course, they are prepared, and they have the man advantage ready on the B site.
Yeah, there's an onslaught, ladies and gentlemen, that's slowly creeping its way up B long. And they do still have that teleport behind them if they want to bail out. They can. The Hunter's Fury is going to be used. Skadoodle. Oh, it's going to be traded back out as well by mummAy, and it didn't look like either one was able to get anything, but FINESSEE and brax say that the guns work better than the bow and arrow does. Akis is able to get one as well. Kaboose with the spots and the Galaxy Brain plays to get that shot onto brax as the spike tries going down, and they're getting the heck out of dodge.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate if you're a T1 fan, but for the the Burn Blue community, they can be happy about that win. Kaboose in a great position there too, just hiding behind the double box on the B site will net himself not only a frag, but the confidence moving on to the rounds ahead. Of course, we are looking at the economy, not in the greatest spot, but we've seen time and time again T1 able to bounce back from a very difficult scenario. But the Envy boys, they're so happy they've got themselves the double op play, and that's going to hurt for the attack.
Gosh, that's a big investment too, man. And look, they've got the money, right? They can do it. But you just kind of hope with that in mind that they're able to maintain it and there are no hiccups that come across along the way. The spike hovering over on that A site. But I've just been so impressed, Simo. I don't know about you, but I've been so impressed with how methodically and how patiently T1 play their T sides.
You know, starting to look at some of these early rounds, T1 seems to stack. While it is great for them to push forward, but unfortunately for Akis, he gets slowed down and just barely pushes forward, as there is an orbital strike on the return end that will find brax still down to 3 here for the side of the attack. Now they'll call that rotate over, but that's not where the spike is. And they're actually going to pump fake this as Kaboose is ready for them to start to funnel back towards that site. And as a result, he will find himself AZK and now Skadoodle. The last one that remains with a weapon. He's got the operator, but he's quickly dealt with in another round here for Envy. I really want to touch on that round really quickly. T1, they stacked towards that A side. Kaboose started an early lurk towards the fountain because he felt nothing was happening. Maybe a lot of utility was used on that A site, and so he felt confident to push forward. I mean, yes, it's an eco, but he still called it out and was able to read the play from T1.
And I like what they were trying to do there, right? Like the dip through TP, but leave the spike back, kind of send him on a false trail. But the execution just wasn't there. Envy wasn't biting it. They left 2 over on A, and it was enough to get the kill. We'll see Calypso with the op. See if he's able to get anything as Kaboose uses to run it back. Not gonna spot anyone quite yet, but the spike is a hard push into hookah. That's a death ball that's rolling in there.
You'll usually see that run it back play consistently to try to gather information. But that information gathered means they've got to pull forward towards this B site. You know, you're not able to see anyone towards the dust. And as a result, let's make that call. Let's 4-stack towards B. Let's stop this push. But so far, it's not looking good. It's a quick trade of frags, though. And so the attack still need to get on the site, but they've been stopped here. A great shot from mummAy. Sit down, Skadoodle, as Calypso will follow up with a frag of his own. But just down to mummAy as the rest of his team will fall apart. And the res onto Skadoodle means that he can go for round number 2. But will he survive round number 2? mummAy still has one more. Switches to the classic, but he is himself told to sit down by food. And T1, another round on the board.
Dude, he had that. He totally had that. And freaking, that would have been the sickest play that I've probably seen all week, honestly. But still, he totally had that, wasn't able to execute. But look, Timo, you touched on this too. The double op investment out of Envy is paying off there. You saw a couple of kills that they were able to put together, and yeah. Where they're going to invest back into it. You've got an op in the hands of Calypso and mummAy on CT side. That's huge.
Yeah, but now you'll see, of course, it does fall out of play, and so Envy, while around loss, still have the weaponry to play here. Let's see if they anticipate this push towards B. Kaboose in a new position that we haven't seen him before. We'll see if the Owl Drone is able to spot it out, and as a result, it will. So Kaboose in a tough spot, but Food, he's got too many angles to cover, and now he gets safe passage, but brax will be, of course, there to stop that push forward. Or sorry, stop that crossover from Hookah, but now using the run it back to gather a lot of information for the team. A shot's good from Skadoodle as he will just follow that clone back, but it's Finesse. He's holding down the site, and it's still to 2 for the side of T1. Skadoodle interested with the idea, has the spike in hand, but gets a face full of lead from Calypso. And now brax, he gets neural thefted. Wall going to be going up. Let's see if he can get this spike to safety.
Man, it's just so difficult to get on site anywhere on this map when there are 2 ops. And, you know, you saw some of that there firsthand. The spike now slowly moseying its way in a 1v3 through spawn back to A. Unfortunately, Calypso is sitting there and he's waiting with a warm, welcoming shot of an op for the 3 kills for him on that round. That's going to be another one in the pocket of Envy, and that double op comp is just suffocating T1 right now.
Yeah, but you know, once we swap over to the defensive side, of course, while I do say Bind is the most even of maps, it is the defender side that it does favor when it comes to that point. And so once we swap over, it'll be, of course, Envy that faces the wrath of the double op. And so far, of course, 3 rounds deep for T1. Could see a potential 9-3 scoreline, but I doubt it considering how close some of these rounds get. And so if we see a 6-6, if we see a 7-5 T1, they're still feeling comfortable about the positioning that they're in.
Spike hanging out over on A side again, and it's a heavy investment on A from T1. Take a look at your minimap, folks. All 5 of them are over there. Brax is going to drop in and get dropped as soon as he steps out at the hands of Finesse. All he had was a ghost. That's a tough fight to win. Finesse wisely with the spidey sense that there are 2 other people there, but it looks like they're going to back off for now. 1 kill was all it took to change the plans of T1.
I like that positioning from Calypso. He's got the cross ready just in case things really start to go down in the dumps. He's standing confidently on Heaven because he knows Finesse will be there for the cover, and he's also in view of the Tetris block, and so they won't actually be able to see him standing there confidently on Heaven. He'll, of course, pull back. No one does push in towards A short, but I like this approach from T1. They've got this double-pronged push. 2 down B long. They'll find an entry pick on Kaboose, but still, they're waiting for the pull-off from the side of Envy, and that's the call. Finesse, he's waiting, and he'll be able to stop, but the cross isn't good. The patience ends up being a virtue, and now it's just down to Skadoodle.
Oh, Finesse played that so freaking well. Just waiting and waiting and waiting, bides his time, and it's exactly where he needed to be on the map. 12 seconds on the clock. The Spike is sitting in no man's land right now. You see Sova running away, just trying to stay alive and save whatever they can. Skadoodle looks like he's going to get away with the Phantom with a dope skin, by the way. What are your thoughts on that new skin line?
Man, of course, it is, what is it, the same amount as the Dragon skin line?
Well, I think it's a little bit cheaper.
A little bit cheaper. Yeah. I think this one, a lot of players like for the sole reason that it doesn't feel intrusive. When I see a dragon yelling at me to reload the clip, like I feel attacked.
That's a little stressful.
Feel very comfortable. Yeah, that's a little stressful. And I'm in a competitive match, like, you know, thousands of dollars on the line. I don't want to be in that position. Whereas instead, I just have a very cultural face looking at me, and it's glowing, and that's just dope.
Yeah, I'll take that. I think I agree with you by and large. Here, as T1 doesn't seem to agree on what they want to do as far as what side they want to go. It's a pretty slow move early on. It looks like they're going to try to play for pick, see if they can spot anyone before committing to a site. Much like has been the case for the last couple of rounds, Envy is stacked 3 on B and 2 on A, but Calypso's going to drop over on A, leaving 1 on the side. The Hunter Fury is going to be used. It's not going to connect on anyone. Akis tries getting him there. The lineup was there, but Food is able to drop him in his tracks.
Yeah, great push. I did like the attempt from the side of Akis. He tried to put up a wall, and unfortunately did not work out for him. It was able to stop a potential push from the showers, but of course, caster vision told us that no one is there. So now for the opposite side, this Team Envy, they've got 3 left, and they're trying to do their best to at least get some of these exit picks. There's going to be one pushing into the Wishbone. We'll be greeted with a couple of members, and now Finesse in position, sees those jumps forward. They've got their knives out. Baby. You don't want that. It's 2 headshots for Finesse, and now the rest of the team will start to push forward. They'll take away that pesky lurker, but still an expensive counter flank there from the side of Finesse.
That spike is going to go off, putting another one in the pocket. That's a pretty cool view. I like that. Another one into the pockets of T1. Thank you to the observers for showing us that angle. It's pretty dope. Also, shout out to the observers who also came together at kind of last minute to put this together. Give them some love, gas them up in the chat. Super dope dudes. But what else is dope is Finesse right now. 12, 6, and 7. Dudes having a field day. And we talked about how this map might be close. But Simo, were you thinking 6-4 first half here between Envy and T1?
You know, all this tells me is that Envy are prepared to play with the big teams and, you know, take down a team like T1, a team like TSM. Maybe not Cloud9, because I think their playstyle is just Tens, go do your thing. And if he has a great day, then Envy's in trouble. If he has a bad day, I mean, have we ever seen Tens with a bad day? I don't think so. But if he did, that would mean good news if they face stuff against Envy, right? So it is all playstyle oriented, and while Cloud9 sound like they play off of 10s, it really is the other team that pull up a lot of slack here. An early peek from Brax will send him back to the Netherrealm, and now it is the man advantage for Team Envy.
Yeah, but while that happened, they managed to get onto the sites. Crashy is able to take care of Akis. The spike looks like it's going to go down thanks to that wall that's gonna go up on a short. The orbital strike drops as well. It doesn't look like it's going to connect onto anyone. The retake on this is going to be insanely difficult. There's the run it back. It's going to drop as well as Calypso gets another one. Another orbital strike is dropping. They're just trading ults back and forth.
Yeah, Skadoodle manages to find himself a pesky little Kaboose trying to defuse that spike. Another peek from Calypso, and Skadoodle says, hey, is it time to go back to work? Because it's business as usual for my operator. He'll find 2 picks now, just down to 2 final players. Make that one. It's Finesse. We've seen him at the top of the leaderboards, but he is slowly going to start to fall from grace as the rest of his team have already done so. Just down to him. He's got the camera coming up shortly. We'll see if he's able to spot things out, but he's just there playing for picks similar to what he did before. And now as we see the connector play, he may decide to follow up, but no one's going to be there to... Oh, okay, there's one. Oh, no, and he still ends up... Okay, that's a little sad, but still.
Tried finessing his way into a kill and into the next round and drops. But I like how he played it, right? Maybe not as light on his feet as he should have been, but was able to get the kill anyway. And Simo, a pretty paltry performance out of T1, at least on the KD side. Nobody positive. AZK is positive. Skadoodle and Food are close, but brax, crashies, both having rough halves.
Yeah. So last round though, so things can really shape up in the following half. I did say that I could see a 6-6 half. I could see a 7-5. Definitely on trend here, considering how close things have been once we got to that halfway point of this half. And so far, I've seen great play from both teams, but it has been relatively just great positioning. Envy, the rounds that they've been able to defend, they're in great spots, great angles on site that T1 doesn't necessarily expect, or the scouting out has been quite poor. The Owl drone from Skadoodle is taken out almost every single time immediately. But it's really been their A-side takes that have netted them these victories, and now we're seeing yet another one for the last and final round, but already it's starting to go awry. Quick couple of trade of kills, though, will make sure that it's still a little bit more even. Already they've pushed through the showers and gained so much control, and now the retake will be just as difficult.
Yeah, and at this point, you just kind of want to let them take and then try to push together, but instead, Finesse funnels his way in by himself. mummAy's sitting up in heaven with Op, see if he's going to be able to connect anyone, but he's going to get spotted out just as quickly as he got up there. Thank you to the dart from Sova. mummAy's still trying to work that angle. This is an insanely difficult retake, not only because you're outnumbered, but because of where they're positioned on the site, and it's just going to go all to crap, essentially, as T1 is able to tie it up 6-6. Look, it was not a pretty round for a half, excuse me, for T1 by any means, but to go into half 6-6, that's a win.
Yeah, for sure. And now that they'll have the defensive side at their disposal, can definitely get a lot more done in terms of what they want to get done. And for them, that is the victory on the first map. And so we'll see as the rounds, unfold before our very eyes. We'll see if T1 feel a little bit more comfortable on the defender side and are able to stave away the pushes from Envy. So far, the early pistol looks like it's the posture towards the B site. We'll see if Envy ends up being successful. I'd love to see the scoreboard, see if that bug gets fixed or has been fixed, but we'll see it in the next round.
It looked like it did. brax trying to jiggle peek his way onto a headshot. He's going to tag him up, and he's going to take some damage in return. You can't do that the entire time. But yeah, it looks like it's the spike, creeping its way over to B. It's a pretty heavy stack. And then keep an eye on the minimap, folks. That Cypher rotating through spawn, if left unchecked, can wreak havoc on the side of Envy.
Early picks here from Finesse and friends. They will start to push forward 2 frags early, but it's AZK doing his best impersonation of the Finesse lurk. He'll find one, but the wall is kind of odd, as I'm not really sure what it was looking to stop. And it's a great round from T1. Unfortunate push from the side of Envy just did not go their way. And T1, while a rough start in the first half, start this one on a brand new foot.
Yeah, we'll see. That's 4 rounds in a row, right? Keep an eye on that. Yeah, it's a different half, and yeah, economy resets, but mentally, to be able to rattle off those rounds does a ton for the confidence of a team and how they want to play out the next couple rounds, especially if the frags haven't always been there. If you've got a couple of players with some slow starts, so keep a close eye on that. Brax sitting at 7 and 14. Yeah, he's got 4 assists as well, but again, a pretty slow start. Getting that pistol round, however, can prove to be the difference maker.
You know, for Envy, win or lose this round, it's going to be 8-6. You try to take out as many T1 members as you can, but we are seeing an interesting adaptation. I think it was Skadoodle who just walked in with a pistol. He wants op round 3. He wants that op. There's nothing that's going to stop him. So early plant from T1, they at least get those 300 credits, but that's going to be denied by the mindful spray from crashies. Still looking for more as he tries to zigzag his way through with the spray, and so far it's working out. They'll get that spike down, but it's just one final player. Doesn't have a lot of HP, and crashies, he just loves to hold down his mouse and spray through. Frags will come easy to him, and that's T1 with another round. The 2-round lead to kick us off, and it's looking good for the boys in red.
Yeah, crashies, have yourself a round. And look, T1 continues to build on that momentum. They needed to win that after winning the pistol round. You expect them to win that, and it's really when things go sideways is when you win the pistol round and then somehow manage to drop the next one as far as economy goes and all the implications of that thereafter. But they needed to win that round to kind of create some separation. With as close as the first half was, you certainly don't want to keep it that way. So kudos to T1 for being able to execute that when they needed to.
So now that the weaponry for T1 is in a little odd position, you know, it's definitely not ideal. An early pick from brax as food pushes forward. That is how you execute that portal play. They walled off B-Long. It was an easy push from the side of brax, and food pushed forward as well. So he guaranteed that at least one of them was going down, and the correct one died. It was, of course, the attack. Now food with another. This is a great defensive hold. But will they expect Kaboose here hiding in the vents? One kill will come easy, but it's Skadoodle that is there easy to answer back. And now Calypso, the last man standing. I love that defense around from T1, and that has to hurt for Envy.
And that's 5-6 rounds in a row, excuse me. T1 is at risk of running away with this, especially take a look at economies. For Envy, they have to save here. They have to go with a pistol. Nobody can afford a full buy with a rifle. Maybe they want to force it, maybe, and go with like a couple of sheriffs and some half armor, but it's just a bad situation if you're Envy as far as economy goes.
Yeah, and look at food and look at brax, like 4,700, 5,400. That is, of course, food buying a new weapon too, I think. I'm not quite sure. It might have gone from the hands of somebody else. He might have been able to pick it up throughout that round. But still, nevertheless, like it is not looking good economy-wise for Envy. And this is the round that matters. It's not the other round. It's the half that you can afford to lose a lot of rounds. And you don't want this to happen. crashies almost converts to the third. It's food with the cross. I love the setup that they had, but unfortunately will not be able to get that frag. They are down and out on HP, but have a Sage to potentially get their life bars back up to full. But it's a couple of members that are down. And so they'll back away. Spike is down, but it's just up to 3. Early pick from Calypso, nets them a frag. AZK gets involved! Oh, baby! What a great frag. Finesse, we've seen him do this before. There's the lurk, but he's blinded by the light. They were able to get 2 off of a sheriff round. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, at least for Envy to at least attempt a round win against T1.
Yeah, but Simo, is that enough? Is 2 frags in that situation enough?
I mean, you take what you can get, especially on the eco. You take what you can get. They had sheriffs. They had no business even winning that round. And so getting, you know, like the worst case scenario is a flawless round. And already at the end of the day, that is likely to happen considering the weaponry circumstance. However, they were able to get 2. That's good. That's great. That's amazing. That's more than I feel like they bargained for moving into that round. And so now they've got weapons online. It is, of course, T1 at double digits, so they need to be a little bit more careful. But crashies is really feeling himself. Pushes up aggressively through ace short, but he gets a face full of lead from Finesse. And that aggressive push was also punished by brax. Sorry, brax gets punished for an aggressive push, as mummAy will take him out.
Oh, boy. AZK able to trade it back at least a little bit, try to equalize the numbers. Food is going to get a shot at one, and he isn't going to land it. As Calypso gets the best of him, they start to cheat over to A side. It looks like it's going to be a very easy take, and now if you're T1, the only thing you have to answer is 4v2. We don't have the spike, or we don't have site control. Do we save or do we retake? It looks like they just want to save it.
You know, for the side of T1, there's no shame in saving here. You've got a little bit of a round buffer up against Envy. Of course, for Envy, they lost one. So someone's going to have to buy for Akis in the round to come, and we'll see who that ends up being. But Kaboose, just looking for some more information, trying to see if there's anyone hovering around that B-long site. But, you know, for Envy, I like this call. They don't really want to get too involved. Kaboose, he's the only one that feels confident enough to at least try to hunt someone down and try to get some early looks. But I think for him, he was just trying to give a little bit more space for his team to funnel through safely. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So around it goes over to Envy. 7-10 the scoreline, and it's a close one. T1 still, of course, a lot of time to close this out, and it does look like they want to do so, and they're doing so. But Envy, strong answer back in what looked like to be starting to look like to be a desperate half.
Yeah, and I would go so far as to say that was a must-win round for Envy, because they'd already lost a couple of rounds where they had money, and that was good against good. What I like to call good against good is when you've got both teams able to buy full. You expect them to lose on an eco round, but if it's good against good, that's when you find out what teams are made of, and that was the second good against good for Envy that they needed to win. So big kudos to them to be able to pull that one off. Brax able to slip his way in, grab the orb, and get right back out as the spike cheats over on the B side. A slow push up to Hookah, and it looks like they're going to be able to get through there with relative ease.
And of course, for the side of T1, playing a little bit more towards B-long, and you really tend to see it. I think it's a safer look in towards B-long, a lot more space, whereas Hookah, you're pretty much, it's a pretty telling sign that you're pushing through it, right? And on the opposite side, you've got Skadoodle with a knob. Yeah, you're not escaping the Dungeon Master Skadoodle as you try to push forward. And so that's why the setup towards B, towards Wood, if one dies, well, it's a quick trade, right? It's not that hard. So now Envy don't like the situation of information that they gathered from B, but little do they know, it's a good call to go towards A. They only have the Cypher there. It's crashies. We've seen him do some amazing stuff. But the other player is towards Showers. And as a result, the pull-off is a little early, or sorry, a little late. Still going to try to spray through crashies, or sorry, Food will find one. But they'll still get up on that site.
Yeah, and they're going to get in. It looks like they're going to be able to get the spike down as Calypso and FINESSEE are able to get two. AZK trades it back. crashies works his way onto the site, but he's going to get taken out by Akis, and that's going to leave things in a 2v2. AZK trying to wallbang his way into a kill. Didn't even tickle him. Not enough damage going through there, but you don't need a tickle when Skadoodle's got an op. He's able to land the shot. mummAy misses as the wall goes up, and boy, oh boy. Oh, he's in trouble. Holy cow. How did he hit that?
Oh, here comes the peak. Oh, mummAy. The mummAy fan club is online, and their first meeting is in session right now. Beautiful plays coming out from him. We saw some great shots in that first half, but little did we know he was going to deliver us some more. FedEx has come, and they're knocking at the door looking for their fresh delivery of mummAy, and that was some great plays coming out from him. They're catching up. Envy, they're right behind T1. No fret for the Bleed Blue fans, but it's T1 that still want to try to answer back and close this one out early.
Yeah, and you're probably one round away from really hurting T1's economy, right? Like, if T1 loses this round, they're almost forced into a save situation, which you put this there at 10-10, and all of a sudden it's a totally different game. So kudos to Envy for clawing their way back after an abysmal opening, but Brax and AZK, they're not too impressed.
Yeah. It seems like every time Envy have a hot round, it's like T1 just answer back with something that feels so incredibly embarrassing. Like those two picks, that sucks. And then that sucks too. Like that almost looks a little rough. mummAy, though, will take out AZK, which Brax, I don't even know if you knew that AZK was behind him. They were kind of pushing together for the trade. Skadoodle misses a very crucial shot, which actually opens up the B site, and that shot will end up landing for Brax as he'll take out Finesse. Just a lot of action happening as they will just take each other out, crossfire after crossfire. And now it's just down to mummAy. He's gunning towards the A site. Gonna plant that spike towards the showers, or wait. Still maybe wants to try to flush things out, but still he needs to get it down soon because he doesn't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, baby, you got to bust a move. Get on that site, put that spike down. There it is. It goes down. But now Brax and Co are going to know exactly where they are. mummAy with an op, probably not the tool for the trade. The run it back is going to be used, and if nothing else, that's going to get Brax all the information he needs. But mummAy... Oh, the tripwire's just giving him away. Now they know where he is. You see him hunting like sharks as they go after him. But Food is going to try to stick the defuse. The Hunter Fury gets one, and at least buys him time, right? But now Brax is going to go back on it. mummAy is able to get one. Oh, but the spike goes down. mummAy was able to get a 3-piece there with a nice couple kills, but it just wasn't enough. The spike going defused. T1 with another one, 2 rounds away from taking the first map.
mummAy needs a raise. I don't know if anyone from Envy is listening, the CEO, the CFO, the CTO. I don't know, but this guy needs a little bit of a boost in the salary department because he is just keeping Envy's dreams alive. Yes, we're at 11-8. Things are not looking good, but he's the saving grace that is keeping the team together, op shot after op shot. And to be quite honest, I think I've only seen him get better. I think in the Nerd Street Gamers tournaments that I've seen him compete in, like, he's been good. But now it's like a whole different beast. It's like being a part of Envy has given him this blue go-go juice that he just keeps drinking round after round.
Yeah, mummAy is playing insanely well. The Hunter's Fury, the op shots as well. And he's not even done, right? This is just map 1. We'll see what else he's able to get. There's the Hunter's Fury. Kaboose is able to get one as the orbital strike drops. Looks like Kaboose is going to get tagged up, but that's all right. It's just his clone. Get back out. Got the info you needed, and that means green, that means go, and they're going to push on to B.
Oh, Akis, great spray through the tuna can, but there's still more fish left to fry. It's Brax who's on that B site, looking like a great round shaping up for Envy, but still need to get that spike down and defend. mummAy will find one, but it's Food there with the brief frag. Still a lot of craziness happening, but it starts to subside as it's just down to Brax. He's got a lot on his plate. He's got to go up against 4, and that spike's ticking, and he's in a horrible position to survive.
But he has a cool skin. He's got a cool skin. But no, Seema, I think you're right. This is a tough situation. Maybe he gets an exit frag for good measure, but he's just in a terrible spot here. Waits, hopefully, to think that Envy is bailing out so he can go too. It looks like Calypso might be sticking around, see if he can spot him. He's not going to spot him. Brax is going to get away with his life. And a big round for Envy, right? Once again, we find ourselves one round between the two.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at the chat.
Yeah.
And I think accidentally Food said, let's gamble B. And little does he know the party chat affects both teams. So he's like, let's gamble B for real. We got this. And they do. And they do.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. That's hilarious.
See, but now you're like, are they doing that on purpose? Do they not know, right? So they leave one over on A. But no, it's a total gamble.
Oh, my God.
Guys, we're watching a train wreck about to unfold.
Yeah, this is hilarious, though. I love this. Kaboose, he's going to be trying to lead that train wreck, but that train is still not left the station quite yet. They are stacked here towards B-Long. That curveball is ready. They're ready for the push. That's going to be a couple of shots. Kaboose will land, but it's the trade for Brax. Unfortunately, Skadoodle swings with this team, and he'll pay the price with his life. Another curveball, but it's the recon bolt that has to stop him. So far, a great defense from Brax. He's able to stop them, but they'll pull that spike off and try to escape and do so successfully. But now the funnel all towards that A site. Little do they know, this has been the correct call all along, and a lot of information for them now gathered, knowing that there's hardly anyone on this site.
That's got to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in professional play from any game that I've had the pleasure of casting. They showed their cards, they gave it away, and they had no idea. But somehow the train wreck doesn't fully collide, and one make that 2. Cars are able to stay up as Calypso looks like he's gonna get the spike down. onto A. They gambled, they paid for the gamble, but somehow ended up knotted up at 3 apiece.
Yeah, Spike, of course, ticking, and T1 need to
Yikes.
act. So far, that act will start with one of their friends being sent down to the graveyard. It's Food, who will be made to eat his own food. Crashies pushing with brax from both sides, but I think at this point, it may be the exit frag delivery that they're looking for, as we are now seeing them start to pull off. And Envy is now caught up to double digits. mummAy has gotten a raise. It's been wire transferred immediately. And as a result, he's performing better.
You gotta pay the man, right? Like, pay the man.
Oh, okay. We just got 10 gifted subs. Thank you very much to the Frank. Sorry to interrupt. That's some Pog stuff in the chat. I like that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Back to the action, though. crashies finds mummAy, and that wire transfer of the of the salary boost has now been refunded. It's been refunded, so that's unfortunate.
T1 2 rounds away from taking a 1-0 lead over Envy here, and as close as they may seem to putting this thing away, Envy has put up quite the show. You see Calypso, it looks like they might want to make a very aggressive push here onto B. The op is going to be covering B long, though it hasn't connected onto anyone yet. Looks like they might try to peel around Hookah, but Skadoodle, his spidey senses were tingling. He knew exactly where to send that drone. He got plenty of information.
Still, it's Envy. They're doing a gamble of their own towards that B side. Of course, you do have FINESSEE, who's holding off a potential flank, but that orbital strike actually finds its way to taking brax off the leaderboard. They'll try to get that res, and that wall will stop them from taking him out. And so now they run it back as well. This is a very chaotic half here, as we were seeing it unfold before our very eyes. That running back will not really get the job done for brax, but he still wants more. Unfortunately, flashes his teammates, and as a result, they'll have to back away. It's now the push forward, and they'll find two, a great crossfire, but we're seeing mummAy try to really answer back. Or sorry, no, that was Skadoodle with the Hunter's Fury try to answer back. There's just a lot going on, and T1, they win that going on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not over by any means, but they're certainly in a good spot to put up the 12th round. They've got 5, Envy just down to 3 members, and the spike is still, and it seems like it's been that way for a very long time, kind of hovering around B long. The problem is all resources, with the exception of 1 on the side of T1, are in the right spot, but Calypso's trying to knot up the numbers with 1, give him another one there as the 3rd one in the round. Food welcomes him with open arms as he gets dropped. That's still going to leave things into 3v2 with 7 seconds left on the clock. FINESSEE trying to creep cheap his way around, but he's going to get met by Food as Food takes him out. The spike goes down. Food with the 3rd, and that's going to be a round for T1.
I know we're on a little bit of a delay for competitive integrity, but I have a feeling that that chat is going to be spamming Food by the time we get there, because Food has been one of the players here for T1 that has delivered on this map alongside crashies. Yes, we've seen Skadoodle, but we always see Skadoodle. And for him, not really having the best game, but I think considering he's the op player for the side of T1, I think that a map like Ascent or a map like Haven with longer sight lines really benefits him, because he can get really involved. Think about how close things can really be and how close quarters things are. And we're seeing Food and crashies really turn up this game, and so far it's been looking good.
Simo, my man mummAy would like to have a talk with you regarding opping and being able to pop off here on this map.
Yes.
20 and 13, he's doing just fine. Who's not doing fine, however, is FINESSEE, as he gets finessed by brax. That's going to allow them to push onto B. AZK trying to guard things from Hookah. The smoke is going to come out, and that's going to force him to go aggressive. brax is able to get one as AZK gets dropped. Akis with a nice 2-piece.
Still down to 2 here for Envy, and they can get that spike down. Resurrection means that they're still involved with the play, but it's not looking so good, as crashies will find one. Orbital strike means Akis has got a jet, and that jet will be burnt alive at the crisp by Food. The orbital strikes have been on point here. It's match point for T1, and mummAy, he's going to be the last remaining member standing. Oh boy. T1 win map number 1, but of course it is bind. Still got 2 more maps potentially left to go. But, Doug, we can safely say how close that was and how well Envy played, specifically mummAy.
Heck yeah, dude. Envy's the real deal. Also, shout out to Hastro in the chat. I see you. My man mummAy, he popped off 21